Creation of Sharks by Rejoice Lubungi. There once was a girl named Nami. She, her father, the king, and their pet dragon, Mua, all lived together in a giant castle in the kingdom named Nashtanville. Her mother was a very beautiful, loving goddess and a leader to her followers. Sadly, she had passed away in the hands of her evil stepsister, who was a witch. Consumed by the heartache of her loss of his wife, the king had distanced himself from his daughter. Nami was a very lonely girl, even though a lot of people thought she had it all, living in the castle and all, but she hated it, despised it. The castle was a very lonely place for her, and it isolated her from the rest of the world. No one ever came to visit unless it was her father's family, which she hated because they were all stuck up and rude. Having nothing better to do, Nami always occupied herself by reading book after book. One day, Nami was fed up with all the loneliness. She hated how her father never gave her the time of day. With those thoughts in mind, she made a decision that she would run away. The day her plan would take place, she called her dragon at the highest point of the castle, her room. She gathered all her needs and wants Finally, she was ready, and as soon as she was sure nobody would catch her, she jumped onto the dragon and flew away. The midnight sky aiding them to camouflage and not be seen. When her father was fast asleep, she flew as fast and far as she can. Suddenly, out of nowhere, began to rain. First a few drops about, and more replacing them. She soon realized that the rain wasn't going to stop. It became a massive storm. The wild wind throwing her and Mua in a crazy fit of turns. Out of nowhere in midair, her dragon was struck with lightning. The limp body of the dragon began falling quickly towards the ground, a screaming Nami following after. Before she could do anything, they plunged into the dark ocean. All her belongings fell into the ocean under them, and down she went. She fell deep into the ocean. She tried to swim up, but she couldn't even master the strength to swim. As if the water was pulling her lower and lower, each second she began to lose breath. Then as soon as she closed her eyes, something warm clutched onto her hand. Like magic, all her strength came back, and she was being pulled up to the surface. Before she knew it, she was seated on dry land, trying to catch her breath. She turned to see her savior, to find a beautiful, handsome, tall man dressed in fur coat. After introducing himself as Aiden, he brought Nami to his home, which was a large cave. There he took very good care of her. He tried to aid her in anything. When she needed food, he would give it to her. Everything she needed, it would be there for her. Nami was grateful. She owed him her life. If it wasn't for him, she wouldn't have survived the fall. One day he came home from fetching fish for her. She confessed to him that she loved him dearly, that she owed him her life. She came to a heartwarming conclusion that she wanted to marry him. He said yes right away, for he knew that he loved her also. They had a small wedding near the never-ending waves of the sea. After a few months, they had a child, but as Nami held the newborn child in her arms, she noticed he had very cold eyes. They were a bottomless pit of nothing, reminding her of the day she almost drowned. Cold, empty, no emotions at all. The couple were both confused as to where he got this emotionless eyes, but nonetheless, he was their baby boy, and they loved him for who he was. As their years went by, Nami began to notice that Sanji had grown closer to the father and began to shut her out. Although this was going on, she still loves him. He would always love going hunting with his father all the time, but Sanji would kill the animal brutally. Even though the animal was already dead, he would stab it exactly 13 times before he was done with it. One day, Nami was fed up of not spending time with her son. She went with the thought to her husband and what to do to spend time with her son. Her husband decided that they should all go boating. Loving the idea, Nami agreed eagerly. They gathered their stuff and went on the boat. While they were on the boat, Sanji was acting very suspicious and disclosed himself from his parents. But then all of a sudden, while they were gazing at the beautiful sea, he pushed them both into the ocean. They were very shocked, but quickly pulled themselves together and held onto the boat. Just like the night when Mua died, dark clouds began mending together above their heads. Soon, rain began to fall down quickly and heavily, making the boat rock back and forth. But they held onto the boat with their dear life. Sanji turned to his parents with crazy eyes. He took out the knife they were going to use to catch the fishes and turned to his parents. A white smirk plastered on his face with no humor in his cold eyes. He went over to his mother and she pleaded for him to stop, but he wouldn't listen. He cut off her fingers one after the other, ignoring his mother's cries, and went tumbling into the sea. Then he moved on to his father, and the same thing. The dark sea eating him up. The bloody fingers began to grow bigger. They began to turn gray, and soon heads were formed with sharp teeth. 10 sharks were made. A big hole opened up into the ocean and swallowed them whole. Sanji turned up to the dark sea, the rain hitting his face as he laughed evilly. He was very proud of what he had done. A man who was sailing by had seen the whole thing. He quickly made his way to the castle and told the king everything he had seen. Her father was devastated. His daughter had died. His mind clouded with anger. He gathered all his soldiers and sent them to kill Sanji, but they had never succeeded. Each year, Nami's father would send out a group of soldiers to find the man who had done this vile crime. Till this day, a lot wondered what happened to Sanji, what happened to what's wrong with his emotionless eyes. Some people said it was from Nami's evil stepsister who cursed him and made him also a witch, but none ever knew the truth.